It was May 1st, 2007, when I was at a meeting with Bishop Pepe. At the end of the meeting, Bishop Pepe said, "Bill, I've heard that you always wanted to start a new parish." I said, "Bishop, I've never said that. I've never thought that. What are you possibly thinking of?" "Never." I said, "But I'm a little bit curious. What parish did you think I might like to start?" The bishop came back with the question and said, "What parish do you think we want you to start?" I said, "Well, Gorman is moving over to Southwest in Summerlin, and I've heard that's going to be a parish near Gorman or next to Gorman. And since I'm an alumnus of Gorman, class of 1962, my guess is you want me to start a parish there." He said, "You're right." He said, "Think about it. I'll give you 2 months. Give me an answer by July 1st. Let me know." So as I walked out of the office, I was shocked that he had given me that challenge, and even more shocked that I even agreed to think about it. I spent a couple days praying about it. I talked to a couple of priest friends of mine, my family, and some friends. And 10 days later, May 10th, I called up Bishop Pepe and said, "I'll start it." He said, "You can name the parish if you want." He suggested, "Why don't you think of an educational saint, since it's going to be next to a Catholic high school, or one of our modern saints, like St. Teresa of Calcutta or St. Maximilian Kolbe." So I said, "Okay." I couldn't think of any educational saint that inspired me, at least at that time. And I love the lives of Maximilian Kolbe and Teresa of Calcutta. But all of a sudden, I said, "How about Holy Spirit?" So I called him back up a couple days later and says, "Bishop, how about naming the place Holy Spirit next to high school, Spirit of Wisdom?" He said, "That's a great name. Why didn't I think of that?" I didn't answer. So that's how it all started. In October, Gorman had finished construction. There was still one trailer left on the property, and the DeBerti family allowed us to use that trailer for our temporary office. They'd taken all the furniture out that they'd rented, so we just had a trailer. And 3 of us sat on the floor. Kathy McGee, please stand. Gwen Finch, please stand. Kathy was my secretary, and Gwen was my receptionist. The 3 of us just sat on the floor and said, "Now what do we do? How do we start a parish?" Thank you, you too. Since then, our staff has grown, and we've had some staff members with us and then move on to other things. So I would ask everyone who's been a staff member or is a staff member now, so past and present staff members, please stand. All those who've been on the staff now and in the past. Thank you. And some of them are outside working on the party afterwards. So that was October. I said, let's start on the first Sunday of Advent. So it was December 1st, Saturday, December 2nd, Sunday, the first Sunday of Advent, 2015. We started in the cafeteria of Gorman High School. How many of you were at that first weekend of Masses? Please stand. Any of our founding members, they're the first weekend of December 2007. Welcome. I was there too. We've grown. Now we're 7,000 families here at Holy Spirit. So it's an amazing growth, not just in numbers, but hopefully in holiness as well. 10.5 years we were inside Gorman High School, usually in a cafeteria. It turned out to be a small cafeteria, then they doubled its size, and we moved into that double-sized cafeteria. Once in a while, we were asked to say Mass in the main gym or the auxiliary gym because something was going on that weekend in the cafeteria. During the summer of 2008, we were in the chapel at Gorman, but we soon outgrew that and went back to the cafeteria. We were there 10 and a half years. Some people thought we'd never build a church. Why did it take so long? Well, we started in December of 2007, and January of 2008 was this event happened called the Great Recession. That slowed us down. And so we had to kind of be patient. And even though we didn't have a beautiful building like the one you're in now, we had a beautiful community. And we realized that church isn't an edifice. Church is an assembly of people gathered together. And we continue to grow, as you've seen in numbers over the years. And finally, 4.5 years ago, we moved into this beautiful church, a home for our church community that had been going well for 10.5 years. So that's why we're here today. In the first reading, Isaiah says, many people will come and say, come, let us go to the Lord's mountain, to the house of God. And many have been coming here to this house of God. Whether the house of God was a cafeteria or gym or small chapel at Gorman or this beautiful church building here, we've become the house of God. We come into the house of God to be God's people outside the world. And why are we here? You know, once in a while people will ask me, Father Bill, how was Mass today? Or was that a good liturgy? And I'll say, if I can joke with them and not offend them, say, well, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? You were there. I said, yeah, but I don't know if it's a good liturgy until I see what happens after the liturgy. What did you do Saturday night after Mass? What did you do Sunday when you left Mass? What did you do Monday through Saturday? If during the week you fed the hungry and clothed the naked, reached out to someone who was hurting, made an apology, accepted an apology, visited the sick or the dying, cared for someone who was in trouble, if you did that because you were challenged by Sunday's liturgy, then it was a good liturgy. But if not, it was just a show. If you just went to Mass and it didn't affect anything the next 6 days, it was just a show, like a show on the strip. Nice, good music, nice environment, but it didn't change you at all. The reason we are here is to leave the building and to go out and make the world a better place. When Bishop McFarland asked me to start a parish at Tropicana and Torrey Pines, Christ the King, he said, Bill, I want you to make that parish so important to the neighborhood, Spring Valley, that if, God forbid, the church should ever have to close and stop existing, the whole neighborhood would miss you. Not just the Catholics, but the whole neighborhood, to realize that's been our sanctuary. That's been the light of Spring Valley. And the same could be said of any parish, anywhere. That we're to be like leaven to the whole neighborhood. And how nice it is for me to, when I'm driving up here for Mass or leaving, whatever, I see people from the neighborhood walking around our campus. Some on bikes, some with their dogs, whatever. They sometimes have a little picnic of their own there by the Peace Garden. Or they'll say a prayer here at the prayer garden in front of the cross. Or they'll walk the Station of the Cross. Some of them I recognize the parishioners, and others I don't know who they are. Just friends and neighbors. This place is important to this section of Summerlin. How wonderful that is. So what is our mission today as we begin our 16th year? 15 years behind us, sweet 16, just beginning. All we have to do is listen to readings. The readings are darkness versus light. Night versus day. Again, in the first reading, Isaiah said, let us walk in the light of the Lord. Writing to the Romans, Paul said, let us then throw off the works of darkness and put on the armor of light. And in the gospel, Jesus says, be sure of this, if the master of the house had known what hour of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake. So we are meant to be light in the world. You know, one of the nicer nicknames for Las Vegas is City of Lights. And I Googled that, and did you know that Las Vegas, from space, from a satellite, is the brightest city on the planet Earth? Of course, those are the lights of the Strip. But we're meant to be a different type of light. Not the lights of electric bulbs or neon signs, and even the lights of our beautiful Advent wreath. We are meant to be walking lights, as Jesus challenged us. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others, giving praise to God and making this world a better place. So as we celebrate 15 years and look forward to many years more in the future, our one challenge is to bring light into the darkness of the world in which we live, the darkness of sin, the darkness of poverty, the darkness of ignorance, the darkness of death, the darkness of loneliness, the darkness of prejudice. We are meant to make a difference in people's lives. We are meant to be light to the world. So congratulations to all of us as we mark this 15th anniversary. But our main reason for being here, again, is to go out there. The Holy Spirit will be a good parish if it's a parish that goes beyond the boundaries, beyond the property, beyond the walls of this church, and takes the love and light of Christ to others. God bless you. Happy anniversary. Let us move forward, brightening up our world.